Good morning.
Okay.
Not yet, but I am going to, we are
I got it
streaming,
started, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we are streaming on the internet.
yeah, I'm gonna be quiet.
We're live on YouTube, just so everybody knows. That's let me go. We just went live. Let me go check the front. You're ready to call you.
I'm here.
Almost.
Good morning again.
Good morning again. How you doing?
You're
Good to see you.
fine. You too, sir. How are you?
I'm getting in you. Good.
Trevor, your mission book is in your folder.
Well, we gotta ask them a question.
What?
Asthma. Asthma is the chronic disease that she has, for a reasonable accommodation. That she
Brandon,
We'll see accommodation.
see what
She
she
has
is.
some.
See what she is here.
That's what I said. That's why I was like, it's in that was just. It's not helping know what's going on as far as that.
Yeah, I don't-
Really can't tell it.
No, is that what they're saying though?
No, I ain't saying, I'm just saying, I'm not, she's talking about, I'm not asking.
Is this that one? That's section eight.
Oh, it's $2,000.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know those people.
Is there a second?
COP wants to know where you put those cables.
Oh, I see, I see.
Hey, David. Hey.
You see, I think that's.
Yeah, no, they're in here.
You know, like,
Should go back.
like, going to a rave.
Rave?
Yeah, they want to party or something, I don't like.
Sure.
Right. I love that, sure. But I didn't know that.
When you go comedy shows or something. So instead of going to the movies, I spend $12 a week on movies. I know it sounds strange, but I actually budget movies so I can go one week.
Okay.
And so this week I'm not gonna go to the movies because it's video, but movies, you know, I've seen everything that's shown right now. So going, I comedy show was an hour and a half, and it was just. Comedians, it was hilarious. That's why I put my $12
I can remember when I've been just like this.
Oh, yeah, it's they're fun. I've done,
Yeah, that's a weird one.
3 of them. I've off Broadway comedy in Lexington. I've done a stand up back there. My kids flew me. They surprised me. I got up on the stage, I looked down in the audience. I said, those are my children. They came in, they came in and said, want to hear you act. I want to hear you act.
We'll have to.
Can they record that?
Do a plan.
I don't know, I'll ask.
So we'll have to set up a show for you to do it for us.
I took
There you go.
a class on how to be a clown 2 weeks ago. It was 4 hours. You know, when, with the guy that had the red nose and big feet, you know, I did a class on that. And they discussed on how to tell jokes better. I'm getting some jokes.
But those of you online, we're waiting. We don't yet have a quorum. We've got 4 members. We need 6 to start. Or 6 to start to take action. Wait a couple more minutes. But no, we need that you set up schedule performance.
And I'm gonna go and do 3 to 5 minutes. If you're committed to do half an hour. Half an hour.
So in election, how long was that?
Hall of Fame.
Oh, 5 minutes. I
Okay.
did one in Lexington, I did one in Louisville. Caravan Comedy Club in Louisville. I did one there a couple of years ago.
Off Bardstown? The one on Bardstown?
Yeah.
Which there's some room for that.
Yeah.
I agree, but
Telling jokes is really hard.
Yeah.
It looks like it's really simple, it's really not. You gotta kill something that's normal,
Scattered.
so you got people going down a normal path. Then you put a twist to it, which is what it's funny, something they don't see coming. And that's the hard part of telling jokes.
Does anybody else come in? It's not on screen.
No, we made
I don't know if that's all.
non-video participants visible, so we can see everybody. Where you can see. You can see me. Okay.
I'm hoping that it's somewhat quick. That we get some information.
She's not coming, she's in Wisconsin.
We could have gone with her.
That's gonna be a nice trip.
It would have been a nice trip, yeah. I worked in iron foundries in Wisconsin when I was young. I was a chipper and a grinder in iron foundries. I worked in a paper mill in Wisconsin. I worked in a frozen food manufacturing plant in Duluth, Minnesota. I did a lot of stuff when I was young. I can't do it now, but
Is Duluth, Minnesota, where the Golden Branch from? Duluth?
it's up on Lake Superior, Duluth, Minnesota.
That's what it's,
That's what Duluth, Minnesota is.
there were the Golden Branch or something?
You heard that? Duluth training.
Yeah.
Believe it was called.
I don't know if it's up there.
That's, she and worked with only two, but said they won't come.
Okay, I guess in the interest of time, we'll go through, go ahead and start and do those things and don't require an actual vote for that. So I guess we'll start, Cynthia, with your executive director.
Good morning. Wanted to start out by letting you know that we had a on-site visit by Anne Marie Dolce from HUD a couple of weeks ago, and it was very interesting and very beneficial. She met with each staff member individually, the housing staff and any staff that worked on housing, so the team leaders as well. She met with Karen, she met with our education and outreach people for intake. And so it was very beneficial. She met with us all as a group as well and answered a lot of questions that we had about housing and expectations for housing. So we're really grateful for that. We will be losing, we will be getting a new GTM. And so we will introduce her. We actually meet her virtually next week. And so after we've had a chance to meet her and talk with her, I will let you know all about her. We do know already that she has reviewed some of our housing cases, and her expectations will be a little bit different than what was expected of us before. We're just going to claim it as a learning process so that we're doing things better. And
So what does she point to that's going to be different?
well, one of the things that was mentioned to us by Anne Marie is that we did well coming back from 0 cases. We doubled our cases, and it was a quantity issue that we're really looking at. Now it's going to be quality. And so one of the things that they mentioned is that all of the investigators will need to have an investigative plan, and to go by that investigative plan and be able to show that as well. So they're going to be expecting that for each and every case, and if it's not done, they will send the case back to us to make corrections for it. One of the good things that happened during Ms. Dolce's visit is we were told beforehand that we would probably be put on a PIP, even though it was in the past. for fiscal year 23, because we did not produce any or submit any cases to HUD during that time period, that we would probably be put on a performance improvement plan. When she came to visit, she informed us, because of our performance this last fiscal year, that they were not going to give us a PIP, because we were doing what we needed to do, and we bounced back and came back. So again, I thank Cedric and his staff for their efforts for that. So they're trusting us to do what we need to do at this point. We have a new staff member, and I'll let Colt tell you about that person. During his report, he had an appointment today, so he's not able to be here. But hopefully at the next commission meeting, you'll have an opportunity to visit or to meet him. I did want to mention, I'm going to kind of skip around, the Hall of Fame event. We're moving forward with the Hall of Fame event. We're doing drafting letters right now. Chair, we will do a draft of a letter, a sample. If we would like to have a letter from you to put into the booklet that we were doing. I do want to remind commissioners or tell commissioners that we've been told by the Hopkinsville Executive Director, Human Rights Commission Executive Director, that they would like to host a lunch and a meet and greet for us in between our commission meeting time and the time that we have the Hall of Fame event. One of the things we need to know who will be attending so that we can give them a number.
So I guess my question, what time is the commission meeting will start that morning, and what time for the Hall of Fame?
Our regular time for the commission meeting, but they're on Central Time, so
Right.
it'll be 9 o'clock Central Time that our commission meeting will be. And they've already reserved the city council chambers in Hopkinsville, and it's at the Hopkinsville Municipal Center. And at the Hall of Fame event, we're scheduling for 2 o'clock
Okay.
that day.
It's possible to move the commission meeting back to 10 o'clock on that morning?
We can,
Yeah, if we can do that,
okay,
Is that Central Time, 10 o'clock?
yes.
10 o'clock Central.
Executive, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make this straight. We listed 21st as the normal meeting date. But in your notes in the last meeting was the 22nd.
It's a Friday, it's
Okay.
November the 22nd.
So the 21st meeting is out.
Correct.
Okay, good, okay.
Yes, it will be on a Friday. And again, I need to know, also what commissioners need rooms for that event in Hopkinsville. And, again, who will be there for the meet and greet, and will be staying for the Hall of Fame event as well.
You give that the time, the meeting is 10 o'clock in the morning,
Central
Meet-
Time,
Central Time, meet and greet is,
immediately following is
Okay.
our understanding. And then the, Hall of Fame event will start at 2 o'clock Central.
I'll be there for both of them, but I'm sure not necessarily needed.
Okay,
But they changed all of that.
okay. So again, if you all did with either me or Karen, we really appreciate, so we can confirm, not only the rooms, the meet and greet, but also our, part of our menu, we need to have numbers for the Hall of Fame event. We have like a little reception, and we need to have the numbers of people that are gonna be there. So we need to know how many people are gonna be there. We attended the IORA conference in St. Louis, and it was all of us here, actually, all of the managers here except for Brandon and Warren. It was very insightful. It was focused mostly on fair housing, at least most of the things that I went to focused on fair housing. But we had the opportunity to have a civil rights tour. We also had a tour of the, and I don't want to say the name on it, it's the Holocaust Museum there in St. Louis. So we had an opportunity to do that as well. This last period, we had 17 cases that were submitted and approved. We had 9 employment, 7 housing, and 1 public accommodation request. If you have any questions about my report, I'm here to answer.
Okay, any questions for Cynthia? Hearing none, budget, Brandon.
Good morning. You have my report before you, and I will be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Any questions for Brandon?
Where are we on settling account in the old building? We progressed all of that,
There's been letters go back and forth recently.
very exciting.
Nothing very exciting. We're just waiting. Here, it's kind of in the finance cabinets fall now, because technically the lease there. Looks like
Okay. But it should be reflected in our budget once it gets settled. Right,
possibly,
possible.
yeah, there are, I guess, a couple different possible outcomes.
Okay.
Brenda, remind me, line E 131, which is workers' comp, that's our insurance, right?
That, yeah, that is our insurance, and could be possibly a payment as well. We did have a should be but in 2024, we did have an incident. We had some workers' comp payments.
Any other question for Brandon? Sign of mediation.
Good morning. You have my report before you. At the time that the report was drafted, 2 cases had been resolved since the prior commission meeting. One of those cases was a case that had been pending for a while. It was race-based. The other was based on disability that settled with a monetary amount. Since the drafting of the report, the 2 mediations that were held on in September have also been settled. One was based on sexual harassment and the other was based on disability. The report mentions upcoming mediations. We just scheduled another one for early November, and there are actually more that are pending being scheduled. We just received 5 more that have opted into mediation.
Questions for Sana? Okay, enforcement city.
Well, guys, good morning. We are still doing well in the sense of getting cases done, get them out there. Housing, as you can see, we've dropped below 200 days. When this was done September the 11th. We dropped below 200 days, so that's good. Hopefully we can stay there as far as the average day being under 200. And just to be clear, I wanted to clear up one thing regarding the new GTM. Just for people that the issue, what she's looking at is how things are written. I want to be clear, it's not the quality of the investigation. I just want to say that for anybody watching who is not knowledgeable of what's going on, that's watching out there in the world. I will see this in the recording later. It is, I want to be clear, it's not the quality of the investigations. It is how it is written and how HUD wants to see it written. Not so much that we're writing it wrong on our end, but how HUD wants to see it written. So I just want to be clear on that as far as the differences with the new GTM coming in. But outside of that, the housing's doing well and they're still on the same track. We'll have to change a couple of things regarding how it's written, but that's it. As far as employment, I'm skipping over to employment. As you can see, 141 is the contract level. We're at 139. The contract ends this month. I've said this before, and I want to be clear again, that the numbers that you see that were submitted for this commission meeting are not reflected in these numbers yet. It is safe to say that we will make the contract, we have already made the contract. So I want this because it's not reflected yet in here because the reconsideration period, but 2 of those cases that were turned in, I think were reconsiderations that were done. So the contract is set. So I just want to be clear that it's safe to say we have made the contract for employment. So I just want to be clear on that. That's a highlight that I'll do more, talking about and being hyped
So
about.
we add 9 to the number.
Yes, you can add, yes. So, yeah. So that's good. I just wanted to make clear on that, because contracts are done. Next month I'll have more exciting words to say about that once it is 100% confirmed. And I want to thank Sana with that, the employment investigator. Sana, when she closes a case in mediation, that counts towards our numbers and house. I don't know, employment, I'm sorry. So I don't know if y'all knew that or not. So that helps out with our numbers. So when she says, I got 2, I smile inside. Because that means we got 2 cases toward the employment contract. Now, we did go to IORA. I also, training-wise, I was able to go to Chicago, to the law school in Chicago's for a housing conference. And I have a lot of material that they gave me. If y'all want some of that material, let Cynthia, I like saying it's like I run so much. Let Cynthia and Karen know. So they'll let me know to give it to you. But I do have some stuff regarding housing, regarding numbers, even regarding project 2025, all that. They gave us materials on all that. And they talked about it at that conference. So if you would like those materials, let me know and I'll get it to you. Or let Cynthia and Karen know, and I'll get it to you. But outside of that, that's my report.
How much should the new guidelines change our procedures?
So as far as HUD?
Yeah.
Nothing. As far as what we do, it changes nothing. The key thing is how we are writing it and how they're looking at it and viewing it, how they want it detailed and written out. That's the difference. So our CRCs per se don't have to change. The determination is something that they want, not something that we do ourselves, something they want done. And that's what is changing.
So it doesn't majorly add any time or anything like that to our current procedure.
Well,
No.
in addition to that, one of the things that is very relevant is they want everything in HIMSS
Mhm.
in their program. So if
Can you
they
say that
don't,
again?
they want everything entered into their system, HIMSS, and it's called HIMSS, HEMS,
The rabbi heard HYMN. I'm like, they said you're
HEMS.
singing them all come in the office.
And so one of the things that we have to do and what we have to start doing is we have hard copy cases. A lot of places don't have hard copy cases anymore. We have everything that's in that hard copy case has to be in HIMSS. And it has to be specified in the CRC, and like he said, how things are written. Even if it's written in the CRC, if it's not in HIMSS, it's like it doesn't exist. So we just have to get into the habit of doing everything, making sure that everything in that hard copy is also in that program. Because that's what they look at to approve our cases.
And does that add? How much does that add to the workload, would be my question?
It'll get some used to writing it the way they want to, but everything else they're doing.
Once you get used to it, it's
Yeah.
just gonna, okay.
Everything else they're doing is the same. It's the same investigation, the same process. It'll just add a little bit of time of getting used to writing it that. But once you got that, so they switched it. So it was one way, which is the way I was used to, is what they're going back to. When I was an investigator from 17 to 21, that's how it was. But they switched it when I got back in the training. They switched it to how it was written. So we switched to that way. Now they're switching it back. So, yeah, so that's honestly what
Like
happened.
it.
Yeah, so that's what happened, honestly. And so that's why they gotta get used they gotta get used to doing it the way they want it now, which I know that's how it was when I was investigating. Yeah.
Any additional questions for Cedric?
She has one.
Commissioner Cheney? You muted. There you go.
I just would like to take a moment to express very sincere appreciation for the reduction in the number of housing cases and the average case age from September of last year to this year. The average age has dropped from 359 days to 170 days. And that's a pretty phenomenal improvement. So I wanted to thank the staff for that. And then I also just wanted to get a sense of the increase in age for employment and public accommodation particularly. I suppose those cases are more challenging.
That's one thing, and also there's more. So there's a lot more given daily with those cases as well. They get a lot more influx of cases compared to housing. So that's one part of it. The other part is just getting on it and getting those cases down, basically. but the rise in cases, as far as how they get them. So I can close 3 cases, get 5 more, might get 2 of those closed, but it's the way, they get a lot more cases than housing does, basically, as well. So that could be one thing. Another thing is just getting on it and getting them done, to be honest.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Cedric? Okay, thank you for that. Well, one, education, outreach and intake.
Good morning, commissioners. You have the education outreach and intake unit report before you. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer, but I would like to add a little bit about the housing. We are doing our part in the intake part, make sure that Cedric and his team do have all the information they need. As you may know, when HUD requires detailed information in the charge itself, they want a format in a uniform way, how we write them. Not only that, but also identifying all the possible respondents, who's the owner, managers, with the company management and so on. And sometimes that's a challenge. But we have a mighty intake unit, Karen Catrell. She has stepping up to help with intake in housing. Glenda Stobble start work on housing as well. John is learning, John Fisher. And so the team is doing well. And hopefully we will produce more charges. We have more charges there. What else I have here? For the education, for the Civil Rights Hall of Fame, we are just now waiting for the tallies from the judges. We have 9 judges across the state. In the next report, I would include their names so we can recognize them, acknowledge their support for this work. But once we receive their tallies, we'll submit them to a certified public accountant, Ms. Tony Levy. She has been kind enough to help us with this in the past, I would say past 20 years. And she's willing to help us again to tally the numbers, and we just go from there. Take any questions, if you have any questions.
Any questions for Juan? Okay, none. We'll move to the legal unit report. Cole.
Good morning, everyone. No real movement as far as changes go is on our report. We filed some new cases and we're otherwise moving existing cases along pretty well. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them, but I'd also recommend a motion to go into closed session to discuss litigation, if there are no questions about the report.
Any questions regarding Cole's report?
I might add one more thing. Cynthia mentioned too, we hired a staff attorney named Bill Nold. Bill has had something of a dental emergency and is not here today, but will be here at the next meeting, and I will introduce him to all of you.
Hey, hearing that, can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss proposed pending litigation?
Motion to go into executive session.
Second. Second. All those in favor say aye. Okay. We're now in executive session and only the executive director, the commissioner, and legal counsel remain. We can go into session to listen.
Yeah, I will. There's no action.
There's no action. Yeah, we have to call the meeting to order. We need a forum to do that. But if we can go through the reports of this report, so no action required.